Hello everyone, welcome to the next review on the channel in the MCU. This time we're taking a look at Cloak Dagger Season 1, a show that I will say I did not enjoy this one when I first saw it, in the beginning part anyway. The first couple episodes took me a bit to get into this show, I will admit that, bit of a shame. However, after that the show picked up for me and I let go of what I wanted the show to be, which is this heavily action-packed Marvel show, and instead I accepted it for what it was. And it is actually great. I am a big fan. So this rewatch, I was actually looking forward to just to get another fresh take on this series. And man, did I need that, because it really showed me how good this show can be. So let us talk about the story then. So basically, back in the day, an explosion happened at a Roxxon facility that caused two kids, Cloak and Dagger, or Tandy and Tyrone. Well, actually Tyrone and Tandy, if you really look at it, because even though it's Cloak and Dagger, people usually say Tandy first. At least I do. And apparently Wikipedia does as well, because that's how I get the actors and actresses' names and all that stuff. But anyway, they basically got powers now. Cloak can, or Tyrone, I guess, can teleport all over the place. And Tandy, or Dagger, has light daggers. And they got an extra power as well that I'm not going to spoil. But that's basically the gist of it. And now, my knowledge on these two characters is basically they've appeared a couple of times in, like, Spider-Man shows, I think. I remember them appearing in Ultimate Spider-Man. I remember them appearing there a couple of times. They were fun to watch, overall. And when this series was announced, I was actually kind of excited because, you know, hey, it's a new Marvel show. Marvel TV has done a really good job. Not perfect job, I will say that, but a really good job with characters. So yeah, let's see what else the MCU has to offer. And if you're one of those people who's gonna yell non-canon, leave. I want to say meaner things, but I can't, but leave, okay? This video isn't for you, okay? Go to when I upload something that you'll actually like, because it's gonna take a while before we get to Thor Ragnarok, which technically is the next canon thing. Also, welcome to 2017, because this is technically the first project to take place in 2017. So then, let's get into the cast, which is the more important part for this type of video, because otherwise I go into too many spoilers. So starting off, we have Olivia Holt portraying Tandy Bowen, also known as Dagger. And she does a really good job, especially with how the character is the drug addict to hero in that sense. A very nice journey. I also like the way that the show is structured. Episode 7 being a personal favorite of mine, I will say that. The next up, we have Aubrey Joseph as Tyrone Johnson, also known as Cloak. Not in the show itself, but still. But yeah, he's known as Cloak, to me anyway. And once again, he does a really good job, especially the emotional sequences. He really knocks it out of the park with his acting, as mainly in the emotional sequences. After that, we have Emma Lahana as Bridget O'Reilly. Now, she is a cop in this show that kind of gets tied up with Cloak and Dagger, obviously, through events. And she has also a comic book thingy, but we're not going to talk about that. Comic book fans will know her, but I don't really want to spoil anything that happens to her at all for her character. But I liked her in the role as well, especially later on in the season. Her acting also does a really good job. After that, we have Gloria Rubin as Adina Johnson, Tyrone's mother. And we have Miles Musenden as Otis Johnson, Tyrone's father. And for good measure, we'll also throw in Andrea Roth as Melissa Bowen, Tandy's mother. And all three of them also do a really good job. I think, to be honest, Tyrone has a good set of parents. I love his parents. Mainly the dad. The mom as well, but mainly the dad. Something happens in this season. Like, there's a moment that really made me like the dad. And the way that they deal with the events that have happened over the course of this season, or technically before the season began. I love the way that they handled that stuff. And then finally, for the cast members, we have J.D. Evermore as James Connors. He is, as you could say, a villain in the show. In a way, because he did something to Tyrone that cannot be forgiven. And even though technically it was kind of an accident, every act after that is not an accident. Like, something happens at the beginning of the show in the opening, and technically that was an accident, but this guy is still scum of the earth. And I like the way that he portrayed James Connors. It's also weird for me to see a Connors with 2 arms, but hey, you know what? They exist as well, I guess. But overall, a good job. Overall, I'll say the whole cast did a really good job. I'm a big fan of everyone who was in this show. I think that they were greatly cast. There's not really any weak points that I can really point to. However, if I do have to go and point out a little negative, number one, I have two little negatives. Number one, it's the shaky cam. This show has shaky cam, and it annoys me in some scenes. Look, shaky cam is scum of the earth. I hate it. But there's some scenes where characters are just sitting down and the camera shakes. Like, why? And then after that, we have the whole, because of the fact that this takes place in New Orleans and not in New York, they want to show off, like, the history of New Orleans, I guess. However, I feel like they put a little bit too much of that into this show, and I kind of wish they kind of backed off. However, if there's something that I can compliment, it is the way that they handled the journey of these two characters, and also, technically, as some people might call it woke, but that's stupid, the life experiences. I think that's what the internet calls it. Anyway, the being a black man and being a white woman, that kind of stuff, those experiences. However, I will say that certain time, like, they don't pick a side, they just explain things, and I like that. Because the thing is about the modern day garbage, I guess, is the fact that it always preaches. And that is the problem, because in this show, they don't preach. Yes, there are bad cops. Yes, Tyrone gets racially profiled. But just because Tandy is white does not mean that she does not have an equally bad experience. Tyrone might get racially profiled, but Tandy doesn't have a happy family. Tyrone does. So it's kind of like give and take, you know? And I like the way that it handles both of the characters. Because yes, being a black man has a different stigma, I guess, to it. I'm trying to find the right words, and being a white woman has some dangers to it, or just being a woman in general. I feel like even if she was a black woman, she would still have those dangers, maybe with some extra stuff, but I like the way that they handle it. I like the way that both characters portrayed it. I also love the fact that the show didn't get preachy about it, it just told you about it. But for me, it's like kind of like, yeah, okay, I know this stuff, but that's because of the fact over the last like 5 years, it's been smashed into our heads about it. But I like the way, I think this show handles it tastefully. Very nice. And I love the way that these two especially act together. So let's get into the final verdict then, because I don't really have anything else to say. So my final verdict for Cloak and Dagger is going to be a good old-fashioned 8 out of 10. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I thought the season was really good, but I don't think it really deserves that 9 or 10. But it's close. It is close to a 9. I'd say a high 8. It is highly recommended that you guys watch this. Now, here in the Netherlands, this first season is actually on Disney Plus, and it makes me so angry that not season 2 or Runaways are on Disney Plus. They are not on Disney Plus, and it makes me so mad because it's so stupid. Why do you have Cloak and Dagger season 1 on Disney Plus, but not season 2? And why don't you have Runaways on Disney Plus either? Those are the only things that are missing from the Marvel timeline, or as I like to call it, the MCU timeline. Because, you know, I see this as canon to the MCU, even though this is more of a side story to the main MCU. Still canon to the main MCU, but it's kind of like, you know, the Defender saga, where that didn't impact the bigger MCU, but it's still canon to the MCU, that kind of stuff. That's basically what the TV series are, and how the TV shows should be. Kevin Feige, take a look at Cloak and Dagger, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the Defender saga, and all that stuff. Take a look at that, and do that in the future, okay? You can have these characters in your movies. Just don't force people to have, like, to watch the TV shows in order to fully understand the movies, because you set everything up in TV shows. Let the TV shows take a step back. Also, can we bring back yearly seasons, please? Also, can we bring back seasons, not for your current stuff outside of Born Again, because I would love to see another season of Born Again, but can we just bring back yearly seasons, because this whole getting a season every 5 years makes me very upset. But overall, this season was great. Highly recommend it if you can watch it on Disney Plus. Maybe it's on Netflix, I don't know, but like I said, a recommended watch. I do, however, have to go back to the old ways of watching things in order to watch Cloak and Dagger season 2 and also Runaways, so that's gonna be a little bit of a problem, but I'll figure it out. Don't worry about that. So let me know what you guys thought about this season in the comment section down below. With that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if that's right, turn on notifications. Don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And next time we're gonna be doing a little bit of a special, I guess you could say, because we're gonna be taking a look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Slingshot. Bye.